Good evening. Everyone favored the hi. Everyone favored the right side of the room. This is fun. So welcome to tonight's program. My name is Kara Blue. I am a public services librarian here at Hedberg Library. I am pleased to be partnering on this program tonight with Diane Reiner. Diane, wave. Hello. She's with MainStreet Thrive and also Spirit Business Connections. She has two hats, or maybe more than two hats. And we're going to be doing more of these in 2023, so look for more of these types of presentations throughout the year. And then tonight's presenter is Paul Peterson with Thryv. That Thrive, not to be confused with MainStreet Thrive, which is spelled differently. So he'll be getting started in just a minute. I want to thank JATV for filming tonight so that this will be available for others to view it after tonight. And then I think my next job is to invite up Liz, who has a question for the group before Paul gets started. I also, if there's questions tonight from the audience, I may try to run to you and give you the microphone if I can reach you in time, just so everyone can hear the question and also so the recording picks up the question.
I am not used to speaking with this thing in my face. So anyway, welcome. Thank you for taking time to come. Very quick and easy. We want you to give us your name, your business name, if you are online or if you have a storefront, if you will. And do you want each of them to have the mic in order to do that?
That would be lovely if we could.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'll start. You'll be able to hear me without a mic, though. I'm Meredith Eaton, and I'm with Garden of Eaton, Gifts and Notions. I'm right in downtown. I'm a brick and mortar. That's the correct term. I don't do any online sales as of yet. However, I have shipped to people. So, thanks. Plants.
Okay, good evening. My name is Tammy, and I'm with First Baptist Church, and we do online services as well as in-person services.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm Brock. I'm the owner of Big Help Movers. We're based right out of Milton, Wisconsin, and I guess what would you call us? And we're not. Yeah, we don't have a storefront, just kind of a business front. Cool.
Hello, I'm Tammy Fanning. I actually work for Blackhawk Bank, but I am Brock's, I'll embarrass him, his mother, and his chief financial officer and bookkeeper and all of that. So we're here tonight to learn more about Google and what we can do to expand his moving company.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, I'm Brittany Brandt. I am a lot of things. Marketing specialist for Making Dreams Realty. We sell houses. And I am the capital campaign coordinator for the Children's Museum of Rock County. So we're online also. And I own a business making jewelry, Studio 727. And I have 5 displays around Janesville. So I'm here for all those things.
Hi, my name's Margie. I own Adorn Boutique on Main Street. So it's brick and mortar, and then we have a website, which is what I'm wanting to get more people drawn to. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Camille, and I actually work here in the children's room, but I also have a side hustle. I'm an online English communication skills coach for non-native English speakers. I am completely online, and I love that we are having these business classes here at the library. I mostly work with clients in Mexico who work in manufacturing, and they are trying to improve their English skills so they can work with customers, clients, suppliers in the States and globally.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
Me? I'm Liz with your assistant. I'm a virtual assistant. So I don't have brick and mortar storefront. I just have my office at home. I've been doing it for about 5 to 10 years, and I do anything from billing, invoicing, small project work, anything that somebody may not want to do because that's not what they put their focus on, so they need somebody to help them do what they do. So, Liz, your assistant. Thank you.
And I think we need to make Diane go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so that's why I'm like sitting over here. But I'm Diane Reiner with MainStreet Thrive. I started this during the pandemic. I have a workbook that's coming out and also a support program for small businesses. It's all geared towards mom and pop and Main Street businesses because you're the ones that have suffered through the whole pandemic. Unfortunately, Amazon is doing great with all of their little trucks going by, but we're trying to put some programs out there to help counteract that. So thanks for coming. There's a sticker on the front of your folder that lists some of the other dates and the topics that we're going to have, and we'll have some all the way through the end of the year. So thanks for coming.
All right. Hi, guys. How's it going? Good. So, believe it or not, I am not a public or a professional speaker, which you guys will get as we go through. So, just a little bit about me. I have worked with local businesses for about 23 years now. So, I'm glad we've got a good, diverse group in here, which can always be interesting. But yeah, so I've worked, you know, typically local. So I actually got my start working with customers on their print yellow page ads. If you probably are not sure what that is, your mom would remember, but yeah, so that's where, and then as Google became more and more prevalent, then that is the direction that us local search people had to go. So what started out as, oh, I'll do the Yellow Pages for a couple of years and I'll, you know, go on to something different. It was, you know, Google recruited us to be able to come out and explain what Google was to local businesses. So they, you know, back then, nobody, you know, had a clue and everyone was very reluctant. And so when I'm glad that, you know, Diane and I were, you know, talking, she was talking about, you know, putting together this series and, you know, she was asking me, you know, what are some of the issues that, you know, the local businesses are facing out there. And, you know, almost everybody wants to, you know, make sure they're coming up when people do a search for them, obviously, for, you know, for their local, you know, service or products. So, yeah, that's, you know, I thought that, you know, just doing a 101 kind of overview of how Google works would be a good one to go through. So Google. Yeah, they are the 9,000-pound elephant on the internet. They are interesting because, you know, and they serve one, you know, just one purpose. Like, you know, their only goal in, you know, with their company is to make sure when you type in what you're looking for, they pop up the correct result for, you know, for our, you know, consumer looking for whatever, anybody looking for anything. And they have come a long ways for their local business search. You know, within the last, you know, 5 to 10 years, they're, you know, they're at about, you know, 85, you know, of the 85% of the, you know, people that use the internet to find a local business or, you know, service, I mean, almost 70% of those people, the only thing they'll use is Google. So it's very, you know, the you know, the percentage of people who use Google to find a local business is very, very high. one of the things that I wanted to do quick before we jumped into the presentation is kind of just look at the sections of Google here. And so you guys have a understanding of, and maybe you all know this, but you know, there's basically, you know, 4 different areas a local business is going to want to show up. 3 main ones, and then they've got this Google Guaranteed, which is the newest thing that you know, really that they're offering for a local business. Where, and I'll talk more about the Google Guaranteed, but basically you pay Google and they put a little green check mark and put you at the top. And they will verify a lot of information. So they'll make sure that you have your insurance filled out, you know, your different insurance. They'll do a little bit of research on your company. You'll give them, you know, a bunch of information. So we, you know, help businesses get that part filled out. So, and then directly under that, you'll have your sponsored results. So Google runs a pay-per-click, so it's an auction model. So it goes basically you know, they will bid on specific keywords, keyword strings for specific locations, based, you know, depending on how you know, how popular a keyword is with a certain geography will determine on how much you pay per click. And so the more people you have, you know, the more it costs per click to make sure we're, you know, if you want to be at the top, second. And we could talk more about that. We then have, which is going to be the majority of what I talk about probably tonight, is the map pack, which is, these are the 3, when I type in, wherever I'm specifically looking, the 3 local businesses that Google finds the most relevant to what I'm looking for in the location I'm looking for. So this is yeah, definitely, if people are looking for a local business, this is the most popular section for a local company who's going to be, or local patron who's going to be looking for a local company. And then you have your organic results. So within your organic results, you're going to typically have 2 main types of sites that you'll see. You'll have sites like Angie's List or yellowpages.com or Yelp, and those are called aggregators. So they are directory sites basically that they already have the local results and they will put those, but Google finds them very relevant because a lot of these companies work with local businesses. So Google puts them, you know, very close to the top of the organic section. And then we'll have the websites within there. So local roofer, Adams and Son. And then you've got other interesting, your questions and things like that, but those are typically the main parts of Google when you do a search for a local business. All right. So yeah, everybody is, and so I figured I'd go through, you know, what is a Google business profile, how you do it, you know, what to watch out for. There's a couple pitfalls you can find yourself in potentially if things don't go correctly. All right. So, how many people in here, just to, you know, maybe just a quick show of hands, have a Google business profile set up right now that they've claimed and have filled out the information on? Okay, so about half of you. And so basically, yeah, you will, there's a good chance that you could be listed on Google without ever having to claim anything. When you claim it, then that gives you a chance to fill out all the information that you can provide Google, which we can go ahead and do a little bit more. We'll go more into detail on that. But as you claim it, then you start having to do a little bit of work for Google, and Google will sometimes kind of scrutinize what you give them for information. So we'll kind of talk about some of the pitfalls. Everything that is dealing with that local, your local Google business profile is based on a combination of relevance, distance, and prominence. So everything, their algorithms, which they change about daily, it all comes back to those three things, is relevance, distance, and prominence. So what's relevance? Relevance is the information that you fill out for Google. So when you do claim your listing, you will fill out a series of information, and we can peek in that if anybody wants to see exactly where you go to do it, but basically you just go to google.com/business, and then you start filling out the information, and Google does a very good job of leading you through what information they want from you. So as people are searching, the information that you provide for Google is relevance. That's what they consider relevant. So if you do a good job of telling Google exactly what you do, they will, you want to have every section of this, as many as you possibly can, have these filled out. So if you've got a parking lot that's handicapped accessible, make sure we're putting that in there. Hours are important because Google will too, based on what anybody's looking for, if they, whatever they're typing in, as long as you've got that information, Google will find you relevant, basically. So as much of this as possible. Any questions on the relevance aspect of it? Distance. So even though it's a mapping section, if the other two, so if Google finds you a better choice, even though you might be a little bit further away, they can still, have you above someone who maybe is closer but doesn't really give Google a lot of information. And so this is one I did here. Oh, actually, you know what I want to do? I'm going to go into present mode here, sorry. All right, so distance. This is one I did a search on. I've got a little program I can use to change my location, where Google reads my computer. And so I did this search. I just did flooring in, I said I was on one side of, Janesville, and then I said I was on the other side of Janesville. And you get, almost totally different results or different, so both searches are in Janesville, but you'll get different, it's potential to get different results. So distance does play a factor regardless, but it's not the only factor. So that one's pretty simple. Prominence. This is interesting because, so unless you're a national landmark or some, a famous something famous. That's their first, when Google talks about prominence, that's their, so you can either be a famous landmark, or this is where all the differentiation. So, most people can, and where a lot of the work goes in when, if you've ever had someone talk to you about SEO or want to sell you SEO services, this is kind of where that all goes into play here, is the prominence. So this is one that's changed too in recent years. So Google, when they were really looking for the number of reviews and the star rating of the reviews for a period of time, that's changed. So because they had learned, that people learned how to kind of game that system, now Google really is coming off of the reviews a little bit, and they are more based, it's more based on sometimes what the reviews say, or the location that people will type in the reviews. So, they'll actually go through one of their, I'm sure their algorithm runs through the reviews. Ted's Roofing did a great job, in Janesville, Wisconsin. And so as you're getting people to, fill out, if the reviews, it's always good. You can't always dictate what they're going to say, but if they mention your services and they mention, the location, is even better. Prominence is also, things like, do you have your listing set up on other directory sites? So, are you listed on Yelp and, maybe YP.com or, some of those other ones? Is your information accurate across the board? So, are your hours different one spot versus another spot? Google loves uniformity. So you want to have everything. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is Yelp, because I have like a boutique gift store type place.
Sure.
And when I first opened, Yelp contacted me and I did like Yelp ads, but then I found that none of my customers were using Yelp because they mostly use it for like restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
So is that still important? Like, do I need to go back and update that so that it is uniform with my Google?
Yes. So you'll want to, you don't need to do the ads, but it's your regular listing that Yelp will give you. You want to have uniform with, with Google. So, there's 100 different local directory sites. There's typically about 50 that are more, Google will use more than others. But it's you want as many of those to be as uniform as, all of them to be uniform, but especially the big ones, like, and voice search and, oh no, yeah, go ahead.
I'm in the middle of this right now, kind of getting all my information lined up across the board.
Okay.
I don't really know what all the search engines are. Is there a place to go and say, okay, these are your top ones, or where do I find that information?
Well, I could give you, I can help you with that. So yeah, a lot of times it's not always shared, but there's services like Yext, which they'll have a pretty good list usually, which I can pull for you and get over to you. So that's a good question. But usually, as you're doing a search, you can kind of see some of the main ones that are popping up when you do a search for anything. And so yeah, anything, even though this is the mapping section, this is referred to as like local SEO. The local search engine optimization versus the next section down is more controlled by your website. And so, having, those same types of factors linked to your site also make a difference. And that could be a whole nother hour conversation. That's the Google 102 class. All right, what are the benefits of a good Google business profile? Obviously, you get increased exposure. You know, you've got opportunities to connect. So Google makes this, you know, they've been working on making, you know, the Google business profile more interactive. So now you can do posts within your Google business profile to let people know what you've got, if you're running specials, or if there's new photos that you just took and you want, you know, the public to see, you know, and being able to, you know, so it's not just a set it and forget it. Google likes it when you're active on their stuff. So you want to, you know, keep up with that. You know, they recommend, there's some recommendations on here I'll get to when we're done, but obviously build your business's reputation. So, I mean, there's 10,000 stats on how important it is to have good, you know, good reviews. Not necessarily all good reviews, but over 4 stars. And it's okay to have a bad review. If you respond to these reviews, that's the, you know, sometimes people think that they have to get all 5 stars. And then, you know, that's not always the case. If you have people realize that other people may be, you know, not easy to please. And so, so if you have a good response to a bad review, you know, you're showing, I've had a lot of customers who've gotten a bad review actually get new customers because they liked how they responded to the bad review. And so that is, you know, and it's kind of funny, I had a situation the other day where a customer, she was in a terror because somebody left them a bad review. And so she calls me up and she's like, Paul, I've been trying to type this out for 2 hours now. She's like, can you know, do you have a second? Can you listen to me and hear, you know, hear what I wrote? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And so yeah, so she reads me all this stuff and she's like, I don't want to come off snarky, but I want to make sure my point gets across and, you know, that we did what we could for this customer. And I said, no, that sounds great. You know, you did a good, you know, that's exactly how you should, you know, portray, you know, when when you're responding to a review, you're polite, but yet, you know, got your point across. And I said, but I got a question to ask. Did you ever call her up and ask her if what she needed to, what, you know, why she wrote the review and what you needed to do to make her happy? She's like, no, I didn't even think of that. She's like, hold on, I'll call you back. And hangs up on me and calls back in like 3 minutes. She's like, oh yeah, all right, she took it down. She's going on to take it down. All we had to do is replace this simple part. So sometimes people overthink it, you know, where it could be as simple as just calling them up and, you know, so it's, you know, always interesting. So, but yeah, she's, you know, very energetic woman. We'll, you know, we can put it that way. But she was all excited to respond, and because they'd never got, you know, her and her husband are great people, and, you know, it would have had to take a lot to, but it happens. It happens to almost every business. So if you already have a listing, you can click on Own This Business, run through, or go to google.com/business. It'll search for your business. You can jump into your listing. And then you'll claim it, you know, right from there. If you cannot find it, there's a button that says Add Your Listing. So it's, you know, add your business. Google will make you verify. So that's one of the things sometimes that can be a pain for customers is that Google will, they give you some choices. Now, they're not any easier, but when you guys verified your business, did they send you a postcard? Who are my hands of the people that did the?
I have actually a question about that.
Yeah, please do.
We're trying to change our address.
Okay.
Brock started the business, it'll be 3 years at the end of this month. And now he has shops in Madison and in Milton where he stores his trucks.
Sure.
So they're not brick and mortar, come in and talk to us.
Sure.
Trying to change it to the Madison address.
Okay.
Asked for the postcard. When I first started the Google business profile, I got a postcard right away at our
Yes.
Milton address. Well, now we can't get the postcard to the Madison address, and it's still showing Milton. So, I mean, I've requested the postcard probably now 4 times.
Sure.
Of course, there's no number to call.
No.
There's no other option to verify the business that I'm aware of. So if you could help us with that and
Yeah,
maybe help.
and that would
anyone
be,
else
that will,
respond to it.
that I may do that on this, it will take a look at it and see
Okay.
kind of what, but yeah, that would be something that we can talk, a specific situation like that. And I've seen that before. Typically there's a way around that. But yeah, so and there is it that are they saying that they sent it? And
Yes. Yep.
but no, you're not being able to receive it at that location.
No, it's not coming.
All right. Yeah, you may have to appeal to a form and send it over to them to get a different verification. So that was going to be one of the things I talk about. So one of the things that sometimes they're having you do now is a video verification where you have to go outside, and videotape any of, for your brick and mortars, videotape any signage that you have, come in and videotape like paperwork that like a heating bill, and then submit it to Google. They walk you through, these how you go about doing this. It's, once you get into it, it's not too bad, but I've had customers that didn't really care for it very much. But yeah, it's typically the postcard. Once in a while, they'll let you do it right via the phone, where they'll text or leave you a message or call you back and give you the number or whatever. But yeah, those are typically the main verification. And then issues. Yeah, so you talk about issues. Yeah, Google doesn't really care a lot about trouble that it causes local businesses. I'll put that as nicely as that. I've had customers who have wanted to sue Google. I've said that'd be, they think that they're getting picked on, but I said really no. Google really, Google is great at what they do, but they don't have a way. You either have to follow the rules or, you don't get listed, or they can boot you off. So some of the common things I see, number one, verification, that can be an issue sometimes. As you're filling out your listing, there's different areas that you're filling out. If you fill out too many categories, maybe that aren't related to the information Google can find out there about you. You may have had this listing. They may say, oh, you're trying to kind of deceive us. Boom, kick you off. Or there's a number of ways. Or if you're a local business, right, and maybe you're a service business that works out of their home, and then you put, as you're going through and filling out your Google listing information, you put that customers come to visit you. Google may spot check, and as you're filling out that information, Google flags it and boots you off, and then, you have to, they'll message you usually, they'll give you 24 to 48 hours, something like that, to, explain to them why you did what you did. But if you don't catch it, then they can, they'll put a soft suspension on you or a hard suspension on you, which, so in my, in my line of work, that's typically the two major ones I see is either verification or, how you filled out that location aspect of, or what types of customers you service. So if you don't have a brick and mortar, but you say you have a brick and mortar, or customers come, yes?
Does Google call? I get about
No.
5 calls a
Those
day.
are all telemarketers.
All telemarketers.
Yep.
It's all day, every day. The
Well,
latest one, they're telling me my listing was flagged.
Yep.
But don't.
They're not, they don't work for Google.
And so I can
They
just-
work as, just independent people that work on Google listings. So, and it was so funny, we had, with the company, we actually met with some of the higher ups when we were first going out and explaining Google, and he's like, first thing he said out of his presentation is, no, we do not call local businesses. So he's like, those are all people that are, they work kind of with Google, or they could be a partner of, potentially a partner, but a lot of times, not.
Is there a difference between Google and Google My Business?
So Google My Business is the local listings. So that's that mapping section that we talked about. Google overall is, you find anything on Google, but as far as the when it comes to local businesses, you've got those few sections that we talked about, where on the top, the sponsored, the mapping, and then, which is like a local, hyper-local organic, and then you've got your general organic.
Are they two separate listings? Like, should I be paying attention to both of those?
Well, so the mapping is separate from, so the organic is more controlled by your website. And then, so you can have a mapping listing without having a website. It helps to have a website. You'll show up higher in the results, but you don't need to have a website to be in the mapping, in that mapping section.
I used to have an app that was my Google business, and it was like a little picture with an awning on it. And then I got a new phone, and I went to download it, but I can't find it. Did they get rid of that app, or is it something else now?
No, they may have.
Because now I can only find like Google Analytics or Google this, Google that, but
They've changed that, yeah. So it's more, and when you're in Google, so when you're in your Google account and your little circle's up in the right-hand corner with your initial in it, and you're in the Google account that you use to create the profile, and you do a search for your business, like you can, right from there, it'll show you a little bit different than it does. Have you noticed that? So that's more what people are using this day, and I'm not sure about the app, if that's completely discontinued or if that is.
Okay. You still have it? Yeah, I can't download it though. I can't find it anywhere anymore.
That's a good question. And I'm, those are, very good question. And I've got people that I rely on too. I mean, I get questions about Google that you can't know everything about everything. So it's, definitely if you guys have questions even, I might not be able to answer it, but I can definitely find out. And so, and when they send out the reasoning, so if you do break their violation, they're not always super specific when they tell you that, you know, you broke a violation. They just say you know, please adhere to Google's, you know, terms and conditions and fix your listing. And you may not always know exactly what, they don't do always the best job of explaining exactly what, you know, what is going on. You can, but again, there's specific forms in there that you could probably go out, you know, you can go in and send over to them to fix, to get a little bit better understanding of why they did what they did. But it's a little bit more work. All right. And so a lot of this we talked about already. The map pack, that's the three, you know, those are the three businesses that Google shows initially. Google posting, that's newer, and Google loves that because it shows you're interactive. The Google Guaranteed we talked about, that's where you get your little badge, yep. Reserve with Google, it's a newer, you know, newer service. It's more for restaurants, and I mean, you can use it for fitness facilities and all, you know, if there's reservations to be made. And you get a lot of, you know, when you fill out the you know, the mapping section, Google gives you a ton of great stats. You know, they'll tell you how many people looked at you and called you, and, you know, you came up on this many computers, you got, you know, this many impressions, or, so yeah, there's a lot of neat, and for those people who have the Google, you know, the Google business profile claimed, I'm sure you guys get messages from Google saying, oh, here's your weekly or monthly stats of, and so yeah, when, you know, getting the most out of your listing, again, you know, making sure that we fill out all, you know, as much information as you can. So when it comes to, there's a couple that you want, you know, you don't want to do the maximum on though. So when it comes to categories, this is one you guys might want to write down. Categories, you would think that you'd want to put as many categories into Google as possible, right? That's not the case. So they give you a chance to put up to 10 categories in. I tell people not to. Give 2 if there's, you know, unless you do a really wide range of things, typically not more than 2 or 3 would I put in, because that's one that if you put in too many, they'll scrutinize it, and you can, you know, they may suspend your listing because they feel like you're trying to get, you know, potentially more exposure than what, you know, for your free listing than what you should. Where you put all of your stuff, there's a spot a little bit further down when you're filling out your Google business, you know, the information for services, where you can type in, fill it up, you know, 30, 40, you know, just put it, there you can put in as many specific things as you do. So I'm trying to think of what type of business did you have again? The real estate, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you know, real estate, home buyer, you know, like just as many of different things that you can think of that people might type in is where you can put that in later in the services area. But in the category section, you know, stick to real estate. You know, you don't need to, you know, try to fill out as many categories in that part as possible, okay? But in the description, go nuts. Fill out as many as many characters as you can. Photos. So tips that, you know, the posts, they say to upload, do a post every few days. They say to upload, so Google loves fresh content, upload new photos whenever you can. When you put them up late, I think it gives you a spot to tag, location and what it is. Please, yeah, do that. Yeah, and meaningful photographs. You see some weird ones sometimes, but
I have a question.
oh, good.
What is geotagging?
So geotagging is taking a photo by location or tagging something by location. And so if you're going to put a photo up, it'll give you a chance to geotag it. So you've got a business in Clinton, Wisconsin. Tagging it, it'll give you a spot for alt tags, and geotag is the location aspect of it. Yep. So there's one part also in here that they didn't talk a ton about, but it was, a service business. You don't, if you're a home-based business, you don't always want to put an address out there for display. You don't, because that can wind you up. You're better off putting in a service area that you cover versus a physical address, and put all the cities. So there they will allow you to do 20 different locations. What I typically do is all the major cities around, make sure, like the outskirts cities that we do, I will typically then also put in the counties. So, a little bit of a combination. You want those cities that people are going to type in, and then the counties, and then I'll usually put the local zip code for where you are, just to be on the safe side.
So it's good to fill up your service area. You
Yeah.
want as many as-
It's all, I would use all 20 if possible, yep. Yep. And especially if you're a service business that goes to people, it's, that's even more important for those. Maybe not as much as if you're a brick and mortar, but you're more apt to come up when people type in that city then. So if they type in, boutique in Footville, that's, gives you a better chance of.
From this area.
I love it, yeah, just north. Yep, just kind of by Newville. All right, I think I've hit most of, and I can show you an example here. And so here's a bad Google business profile, or not as good of a business profile. This is heating contractor in Neenah, Wisconsin.
Oh, are you able to zoom in at all, if you know how to,
Sure.
just to make it a tad larger on the screen?
Zoom in or out?
Oh, yeah, that
Like
one.
this?
Yeah.
So they don't have, no website. They didn't add their business hours. They really don't have. They don't have any reviews on Google. Looks like they have one review on Facebook, which Google checks. So Google loves it too when you're active on other sites besides just theirs. That's part of their algorithms. So social, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And now here is, happens to be an account I work with. So good amount of reviews. When we click on their reviews, you'll see that they respond to all the reviews. The only thing they can work on is getting recent reviews. Google and customers like it when the reviews are recent. Questions, they've got a few different spots. They have a good description. They do their posting. And so when we do a search for a heating so I look both of those businesses up by their name. When I do a search for a heating contractor in Neenah, Wisconsin, both those businesses are there. They both have Google My Business profiles, but when you look at who comes up first, if I just do a search, and heating contractors is a very competitive category. Besides the sponsored, Better Homes comes in second, where if we then scroll down, what was that again? Oh, yeah, is down maybe 15th or 16th, 17th, something like that.
So that border that's showing up on the left is
Yep.
reflective of
How
they
Google
filled out their profile, how strong their profile is.
It goes back to those three things: the relevance, prominence, and distance is how everybody in that section gets determined. And so, yeah, it's the combination of those three. Is so if you're super here's a. Oh, sorry. I was going to show. So I don't work with this company specifically, but our company does. But regardless of where you are in Beloit, this company, the first company, will almost always come up first. Or if you're wherever you are, if you look in Beloit for. But he has also himself done a lot of work on getting as much information. This is the organic, the general organic, which is also done by what you type in locality-wise. But a lot of people type in near me. If you're in Beloit and you're looking, those three will typically pop up in that order. So, questions? Yeah, I don't know if I left enough time for questions. Yeah, you guys ask anything though you want to.
So when you use the posting, once you put it out there, do you have the opportunity, like if you're posting an event and want to get the word out,
Sure.
Once the event's over, can you take that down?
So I think they automatically come down in 7 days by themselves. But otherwise, yeah, you should be able to go back in, I think, and remove it. That's a good question. I don't know if anybody else who uses the posting. I don't usually take them down. I help people create what's going to go out there, but I don't take them down a lot.
I know the updates, mine show up like going back to when I first opened.
Okay.
Most do.
Okay.
So like years.
And even on the bottom of your profile, sometimes I thought if you click that, I thought those were supposed to kind of rotate out, but
maybe, let me look at it not from my account.
Can we see an example of those?
and they might have kept them on there. I might be a little wrong on that one.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where do we look for the posts? I've never heard of Google Posts.
So it would be within that, in that profile. So that might be a good, you probably deal with the posting within your profile. I don't have a Google business profile, so it'd be hard to, I can either look.
I don't know if our church has it. I've just 2 weeks ago started doing our Facebook Live.
Okay.
And had to create a Facebook page.
Sure.
And I'm just like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Then I had several people say, we can't find you on Google. And I'm just like, I know we used to be.
So yeah, you'd want to get that claimed, and so there. Now, did you say you were claimed yet or no?
I have no idea.
Okay, and we can take a look. So you guys too, if there's any like a specific situation like that, that's doing this, I knew that I would be talking to some people afterwards too. So if you want to set up a time we can do a free, Google business profile, show you and all that stuff. Yeah. So. I'll write that down. And I think there'll be a sign up. Yep. So for people who, if you would, I think you were going to go through it, but yeah, if you want.
So we posted one of these by your folders. So if you could fill it out, you have a section there too for suggestions. There's certain topics you'd like to hear about. We still have the latter part of the year to schedule some speakers to come in. So we're taking suggestions there. And then Paul is offering a free Google review. So he'll sit down with each individual business, because no two businesses are going to be alike. Even if you're the same, a gift shop, you're going to still have different things. I have a newsletter out that has free tips, small business tips. And then the last one here is Kara being in the library. The library has a lot of online resources that you can get data, you can get classes, you can get all kinds of things. So if you want more information on what the library offers. And what's great too is not necessarily do you actually have to come into the library, but if you have a library card, you can sign up with a lot of these different resources from the comfort of your home. And you can get information that way. I don't know if anything or not.
No, you're hired. You sound great.
Okay. So we're just here for resources to help people. And then, like I said, there's a sticker on the front of your folder that has the other dates of topics that we're going to have. The work safety one that's coming up in May. Actually, the Janesville Police Department is going to be doing that. So something for, the smaller businesses that may not have the police department come in and do something. They're going to do it for our small business community. So.
And the next one is April 12th, where we've got a local IT, cybersecurity, data protection, local business owner coming in and talking about how to take care of your business so it doesn't run away from you by somebody else.
That's right.
And are all these at the same time as this one? Are these at the same time?
Yep, so 6 to 7. 6 to 7.
I feel like we picked most Wednesdays, but they're not always Wednesdays.
Right. Yep.
And then too, if there's something else too that, with dealing with online that you guys have questions about, we'd go through a lot of stuff. We picked this topic because it seemed to be one of the most, top of mind for people. So I hope it was a little helpful, and well, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm glad.